Hello Canastota, I'm Sean Becerra, Superintendent of Canastota Central Schools, and this is the weekly video update for Friday, August 28th. I'd like to start off this week by thanking all of the parents and community members who have participated in our series of reopening informational sessions over the past 2 weeks. As you know, the governor required districts to hold 3 community sessions and 1 staff session before August 31st. As of today, we've already exceeded the requirement, having hosted 4 community sessions with over 350 people participating in those sessions. More information about additional sessions, which will be scheduled up to and into the start of the new year in order to address questions, will be announced early next week. Speaking of our reopening plan, one of the most frequent questions I have received is, are we really opening the doors for students on Thursday, September 10th, as scheduled? Or are we going to be one of the schools that pushes back the opening date? The answer is yes, we are not considering a late start to the school year. We will be in session on Thursday, September 10th. The only thing that would cause us to change the date would be a directive from the state to close schools or a local outbreak of the coronavirus that would call into question how safe opening would be. At this point, our local infection rate remains far below the rates that the governor has indicated would close schools. Our community has spoken loud and clear. You want kids in school and you want to do it safely. We have a very strong plan that has been approved by the State Education Department and the Department of Health to keep our staff and students safe. This plan includes daily health screenings. More details of this process will be available next week, along with strict social distancing guidelines and the subsequent reduction of the number of students in the building at a given time to accommodate the distancing requirements. And also, there's the wearing of masks. As I'd like to clear up exactly where we stand with the masks. The guidance in this area is clear. The Department of Health recommends the wearing of masks while in school and on the buses. Students will, however, have the opportunity to have breaks from wearing masks, while staff and students are required to wear them whenever they are standing or moving around the school facilities and while they're on the bus, and whenever social distancing is not possible. They will be able to have breaks from wearing masks when seated and when appropriately socially distanced. Do people, students and adults, need to have a break from the masks? Absolutely. Are there different tolerance levels for wearing of the mask? Absolutely. That is why there will be opportunities for everyone to remove their masks throughout the day. However, it's important to keep in mind that the school should support the recommendations of the health department and medical experts in order to make the school as safe as possible. So yes, we've taken the necessary steps to open school in a safe and responsible way. In fact, our hope is that in the not too distant future, circumstances will allow us to have more students together in the building at the same time. We look forward to welcoming our students back on September 10th. I'd like to now talk for a minute about 2 of my favorite subjects, food and athletics. Our summer nutrition program continues to provide thousands of meals to students throughout Canastota, and I wanted to give you some updated numbers. Since the summer meal pickup program started, 27,008 meals have been served through yesterday, for an average of 375 meals per day. Since the school shutdown period in March and leading up to the start of the summer program, 108,660 meals had been served. So to summarize, 135,668 meals have been served to our students since the school shutdown began. Thank you to all of the staff members who worked throughout this period to make sure kids were fed. It's important to remember that while school has not been in session in the traditional sense, the school is still working hard to serve the families of the Canastota community. Now on to athletics. This week the governor announced that fall sports would be able to start practicing beginning September 21st. However, sports that were designated as high risk, like football, could not actually play games until further notice. They can practice starting on the 21st, but cannot play games. There is a lot up in the air regarding how the fall athletic season will play out. It's also important to remember that we are largely at the mercy of the state on this issue. One district doesn't have the power to determine whether or not interscholastic athletics will happen or not. While a lot of uncertainty swirls around athletics, there is still hope that there will be a fall season, or even possibly a condensed 3-season schedule that will begin after July 1st, if for some reason the September 21st date is not a possibility. Look for these big decisions to play out in the next week to 2 weeks. Finally, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the difficult position schools have been placed in financially by the state of New York. The state is taking the extreme step of withholding state aid that is due school districts throughout the state. You may find this surprising, since the governor has said very little about his actions, despite the fact that a day rarely goes by where he's not giving some type of press conference or statement to the media. This may be because it's difficult to justify that in the time of a global pandemic where schools are being required to do more than they ever have, particularly in purchasing personal protective equipment and in investing in enhanced cleaning and disinfecting materials and protocols. The state is imposing a 20% reduction in aid, not just in foundation aid that was alluded to several months ago as a possibility, but aid right across the board, including expense-driven aids. It is impossible to practice responsible budgeting when months into a new budget year, the money that you were supposed to get has been withheld. I will be communicating in writing the district's position that the actions of the governor and the state of New York are unconscionable during this time of crisis. If you aren't funding schools as you committed to, and we budgeted for in good faith, then it's time to eliminate the countless unfunded mandates that chew up incredible amounts of time and money. If you will not find a way to fund the schools, allow local communities to make decisions that make sense for them in educating their children. So Governor Cuomo, we look forward to hearing your solution to this issue, because the position you put districts in, districts who have jumped through hoop after hoop, particularly in the last 6 months, is unsustainable. The governor often preaches accountability, and I'm asking that he be accountable to back up the endless stream of requirements with the funding to carry it out. Next week, we'll provide specific details regarding how the district is being impacted by this lack of adequate funding. Despite the failure at the state and federal levels of government, we will continue to press on to do the right thing for our students. And in spite of these challenges, we're going to have a great year, and we look forward to September 10th. In the meantime, stay safe, have a great weekend, and go Raiders.